everybody. Welcome back to part two of my interview with Amber Lawson, the principal of Aspire Construction and Design. And as a reminder, we're talking about women in male-dominated fields. All right, Amber, if you would, tell us three pros and three cons of your work in construction. Just the top three if there are more than that.
I understand my personality and I like to win. And in construction, it is very clear whether you have succeeded or whether you have failed. Did the project come in within budget? Did you finish it on time? And is the building standing and usable, right? It's real clear. And so when I get to the end of a project, I'm able to say like, "Yep, that was a win." Or, sometimes I'm able to say, "You know what? Lessons learned here. Let's, retool things." But for me, that is super satisfying, right? So that's a pro for me. Another pro is the fact that I get to work with everybody. Construction requires white collar, blue collar, professional services, trades, everybody. So my day, I can start off talking to the bank about a project that's being financed. They're financing a project for my client, and we're talking through, cap rates and financial terms. And then next, I'm meeting a plumber on site to talk through how we're going to solve plumbing a sink in a corner that is inaccessible, right? I get to use my brain in so many different ways. And for me, that makes my work so enjoyable. And then I will tell you the third pro for me, and this is very much tied into me owning my own company, is I get an opportunity to provide an environment that I wish that I could have had when I first started my career in construction. An environment where you are rewarded and promoted based on your skills and your contribution, nothing else. So it is a field that really where you can just be like, look, these are the things I can do. I can prove it. Pay me my worth. And I'm able to provide that environment for people that look like me and really get them started in a way that is supportive and is a springboard for their career as opposed to, this is not for me. I'm not feeling it. When this is just such a wonderful field, I just want as many people to be tuned into this field as possible because I love it.
Now, what about the cons?
Sure. So I would say the cons for me, and I have to speak specifically from my experience,
Sure.
is that you can be questioned about, whether or not you can perform. And depending on, how you're feeling that day, that may hit you, the wrong way, depending on, how your day is going. And that constant or that can be constant questioning is can be a little bit wearing on your mental. So the beautiful thing about working for myself is that when I encounter those types of attitudes, I can decide, hey, you know what? All money is not good money. I don't think this is a good fit. I think you would be, best, looking elsewhere. I would say another con to perhaps being in construction is that there's just so much.
A lot of moving
There are
parts.
so many different lanes because even outside of the different things I talked about, the legal, the financial, the brokerage, the construction, the development, then there's also segmented by category. Are you working on residential? Are you working on commercial, which is restaurants, offices? Are you working on industrial, which would be manufacturing plants? Are you working on infrastructure, which would be roads and bridges? Those are vastly different lanes in construction, but
Okay.
all valid lanes. And so it could be a bit overwhelming, like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? So I would say it's a pro and a con.
Okay. Now, it sounds like with your first con, is that rooted a little bit in the gender stereotypes, people questioning whether or not you can do the work, do you think?
I have decided that I don't try to question myself or try to figure out why people are doing or saying the things that they're doing. I will take you for how you present yourself because I don't want to go through the mental gymnastics. Is it a skin color thing? Is it a gender thing? Because I will tell you, I used to wonder that at the beginning, like, well, maybe there's something I can do. Maybe I could, be less something, be more of this. And so I just decided to just take my brain space and energy even away from that question. You've presented to me an attitude and a demeanor that does not align with my energy. And I think it's just best if we stay in lanes that align with our energy. So that's just how I view it.
Well, and that helps to create, I think, emotional peace, if you will. And like you said, you're not wasting any time being worried about something. You just keep moving forward to the next experience or the next job. Now, I see that Aspire does some community outreach and that you all go into schools. What has been the response of students when you guys are doing this type of outreach?
Oh, Kela, first of all, my entire company is Black women. So when we show up, the project manager, the office engineer, the intern, we're all Black women. So when we first show up and we get introduced to the crowd we're talking to, and we work with from sixth grade all the way through post high school, right? So we've even done projects with Atlanta Technical College. So we work with a range of students and ages, right? And the look on their faces when they see it's us is first and foremost. That's my payment for the time that I'm investing. Everything after that is bonus, right? So first is the look on their faces when they see it is us that is arriving to do this STEAM workshop or a STEM workshop or an architectural workshop. And then when we get into it, the kids get into it. They love it. We have this workshop we do where they build buildings, but they have to buy their materials, right? They're building it out of cardboard, but they got to buy the cardboard. They've got to buy the pencils. They have to buy the windows, and they have a budget. You can't just get all the material, all the supplies you want from the table. No, you've got a budget of this, and so you better spend wisely, right? And so when they really get into that and they understand that construction is about budgeting, it's about finance, it's about planning and execution, it's about teamwork because you don't build a building without working on a team.
Right.
This is not a field for somebody that is a solo worker. You like to fly on your own. This is not for you, okay? And typically our workshops go from 2 to 6 hours, right? Depending on how involved we get. And anytime we get to the end, the conversations that you hear the kids having with each other as they're working on the project is just phenomenal. And we get girls coming up to us at the end asking us questions. This is what you do, and oh, I could be an architect, or you could be an architectural designer. Like, there's such a lack of understanding about the field and the vast array of professional trades and everything in between that you could work in while still being in the construction industry. So,
So, what about the boys, the male students? How are they responding
oh,
to you guys? Is it the same, would you say, the same kind of excitement and willing to participate and be a team player, so to speak?
it depends on the age. It depends on the age. Some of them, they start off too cool for school, but then, once we get into the project and they understand that no, you're not just here doing the arts and crafts project. No, we're showing you skills and techniques on how to build a building, because part of what we do during our workshop is we're teaching about structural engineering. And when they understand the type of math that's involved, because again, we're working with geometry, we're working with
Hmm.
trigonometry, we're working with algebra, we have to calculate square footage. So there's a lot going on. I believe that there's a misconception that the trades don't require an intellect that's required for professional services. And I would say that the trades require more intellectual um, capacity than professional services, because not only are you having to work in 3D, think in 3D, work with your hands, but then also use your executive functioning in math, finance, planning, and all of that to execute a successful project. So, again, it's just for the boys, it's really about them when we get to the presentation part and they're talking about their project and they're saying how much money they spend and what design techniques they use and how they calculated the square footage of this and that. You can see it. It's clicking.
It's like the
It's coming
wheels are
together.
turning.
Oh, my math. I will use this after I graduate. Uh,
Yes.
oh,
I could see why you get so excited about that. Finally, they're making the connections.
yeah.
Now, my
Yeah.
next question, with all your experience, can you tell, I guess, a story about either the most interesting or perhaps even the scariest experience you've ever had on a site?
So, before I started my own company, I worked for Southern Company, and so like Georgia Power, Alabama Power, right? Electrical provider. And I was working on the Plant Vogtle project, which is the nuclear power plant that was just completed in Waynesboro, Georgia, which is right outside of Augusta, right?
Hmm.
We're talking about a project site that's, I don't know, had to be 1,000 acres at least, right? And I don't know if I can convey the size of 1,000 acres, but it's a lot. And so anytime we would go out on the job site, we would get a company truck and you go out to look at whatever the heck you're supposed to be looking at, right? And there's no roads because it's a construction job site, so you kind of got to know where you're going. And so I'm driving this big F-150 and I go down this road because I'm trying to get to a part where we're building some kind of infrastructure and I need to examine the concrete. And I go down the wrong path. And there's no way to turn around because it's just a one lane. So on one side, I have a hill at a 45-degree angle going up. And then on the other side, I have a drop off, a severe drop off. So the only way out of this is I'm going to have to back this truck up this road or this thing I thought was a road to get out of this situation.
Oh my God.
And this kind of ties back to the question where you asked me, what are some of the things that you kind of encounter in construction? And I just sat there and I thought to myself, I was like, what am I going to do? Either I'm going to have to back this truck up and not fall off the side of this hill down into this valley,
Ravine.
or I'm going to have to call back to the headquarters and have somebody come get me. But I know if I call back and
They're
have
going
somebody come get me, I will never be able,
to
they
hear
will
the
never
end of
let
it.
me forget this. But here's what I decided to do. I called back to headquarters because what would have been worse is to have to call back to headquarters and tell them that the truck is at the bottom of a valley because I didn't want my ego, right? And I just had to do it. And for a couple of months, anytime I would take the truck out, they'd be like, "Hey, Amber, you need an assist? You need backup?" And listen, I took it.
They tease you.
They teased me. I took it. But guess what? It faded after a couple months. Had I rolled that truck or really got myself into an even worse situation, man, my name would have been probably Amber Crash the Truck Lawson for years after that.
All
But
right.
the mental gymnastics I was going through in that truck as I was deciding what to do. Do I try to back up? Do I call my crew to come help me? I don't know. It,
But the important thing there is you made the decision, right? You didn't let your ego make the decision for you. You thought logically. And you're here. I mean, you could, if you had rolled the truck, I mean, you also could have been seriously injured as well. So
yeah,
luckily that did not happen. Now, last question. For any young lady who's watching this, what would you tell her? Someone who's interested in going into construction, what words of advice or encouragement do you have?
do it.
Just like the
Do
Nike
it.
slogan, right? Just do it.
Yeah, I would say do it and then, just start working, volunteering, interning, because again, I didn't find construction for me as a career, or it didn't look for me as a career until I was working for someone and I was like, I really like this. This really moves me. I want to keep doing this. And so there's nothing beats failure but a try, right? Get out and try
Absolutely.
it. See if you like it. Don't make up your mind before you've had a chance to try. And if you decide to try it, just know that there are resources. I guarantee you, if you reach out to, I mean, not say everybody, but you reach out to people on LinkedIn, they'll talk to you. If you want to know, hey, what's it like in your position, working at this thing that I'm thinking about? Can I ask you a question? Get the information so you can understand what's available, what choices you have.
Well, speaking of LinkedIn and social media, where can viewers find you?
Well, they can follow us or follow Aspire Construction and Design on Instagram at Aspire underscore construction underscore design. They can find us on LinkedIn, same handle, Aspire underscore construction underscore design. You can also find us on Facebook. And we also have a website. Our website is Aspire, ASPIRE, CD.com. So you can find us a lot of different places.
Well, thank you, Amber, so much for taking this time out to talk to me and my viewers. And look, I'm wishing you a great rest of this year and good luck for the future.
Thanks so much, Keela. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Have a great one. Okay. Girl, my mouse is acting up. So I'm gonna pause the record. All right, Amber, last question. What would you say to a young lady who, after viewing this, is interested in going into construction?
Keela, I would say to do it. And to start the doing process, get out there and start experiencing. Volunteer, intern, ask questions, reach out to people doing what you think you might want to do on LinkedIn. Ask them what it's like. You may not get a response from everybody, but people will respond and you'll get a real sense. And I would say, listen, get out there and figure out your lane because this is what you're supposed to be doing with this time of your life, figuring out your passion. And maybe construction is it. And if it is, definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Amber, so much for taking time out to join me today on Let's Talk Thursdays and for giving young ladies some insight into how you can be successful in what is considered a male-dominated field. Now, where can we find you across social media?
Sure. So you can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at aspire underscore construction underscore design. You can also go to our website, check out some of our projects, and see some of the things we're working on at aspirecd.com. ASPIRECD.com.
Thank you so much, Amber. I wish you and your whole team at Aspire Construction and Design a very prosperous and productive year, rest of this year and into the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Keela. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Bye now.